Hiya! Welcome back once again, like a renegade master, and also for another Minidisc Monday. It's edition number 47 today, and we're going to look at another compilation, a greatest hits, if you will, or the greatest hits from this lady here, the legendary Cher. So this album came out probably about a year after her album Believe, of which the big single from the same name was taken from. So this was sometime late 1999, and it was a worldwide release except for in America, because there'd already been a similar Cher greatest hits or compilation that come out in the US, and I think it came out in Canada as well, although this also got a Canadian release earlier on in 1999. Although that album, as far as I could tell, doesn't feature any of the singles from Believe on it, so this is markedly different, as this covers that period from 1998 in Cher's career. So before I tell you about the tracks and what I reckon to them all, let's have a look at the case and everything within it. Case is in pretty good condition, kind of scuffed at the front and a little on the back as well, as you would expect. The disc doesn't have Cher the greatest hits on that side, just some artwork, but it does have the artist and title and the catalogue number, and that's it on the back side. As for the booklet, it's pretty nice. Track listing again, a few shots of the lady herself, and then we have this, I think, 6-page full-length, 5-page, sorry, portrait of her. Some production notes there telling you who produced and wrote all the tracks on here, what years they were published, etc, etc. Carries on onto the last couple of pages, and then some more shots on the back. So this is the only Cher album that I own. I did used to have, I think it was Heart of Stone on vinyl. It was an album that was sent to me when I was doing a vinyl record subscription a few years ago, but it was one I did part with, although I quite liked the album from what I remember. But for me, and listening to this again after all these years, it really bears out my feeling that I only really need a Cher greatest hits. That's all I really need regarding this. And it's a good album overall. There's 19 tracks on it, over 72 minutes, but it doesn't feel like a slog like some albums that go well over an hour do. You know, it kind of breezes by really, because there's just sort of hit after hit on here, as you would expect from the greatest hits. So let's go through all 19 tracks. Of course, it starts with her biggest ever single. It was an absolute smash, Believe. I did used to own that CD single. I don't care, it's not even a guilty pleasure. Believe is a phenomenal pop song, even with what at the time was quite unusually laid on vocoder effects on Cher's vocals. I mean, that sort of thing is very commonplace in pop music now, but back in 1998 it was a bit unusual for it to be used so much. It's a dance floor classic, really, Believe. Number 2, the Shoop Shoop song, brackets, It's in His Kiss. That was from a film, I want to say Mermaids, but I'm worried I'm getting that wrong. If I've got it wrong, I'll correct myself on screen. Another number 1 from earlier on in the 90s. I don't mind that, actually. It's not my favourite on the album by any stretch. but it's got a nice 60s feel to it, more on the 1960s later on this album. Number 3, If I Could Turn Back Time. Here we get to Cher's kind of hair metal or wuss rock period from the sort of late 80s into the early 90s, where she'd released, I think, 2 or 3 albums that were all kind of produced by, among others, Peter Asher, he of Peter and Gordon fame. John Bon Jovi worked with her extensively, Michael Bolton as well. If I Could Turn Back Time, great track actually, I forgot how much I like that, enjoy that a lot. Heart of Stone, which was the title track of the album of Cher's I used to own, it's pretty good that, I don't dislike it, I can see why it goes on here, certainly fits, it was a fairly big single. Love and Understanding is track 5, that's okay, there again there isn't anything bad so far, if at all really, you know, even the weaker stuff on here, it's sold enough as a single or it's memorable enough for whatever reason. Love Hurts, number 6, great kind of soft rock, hair metal ballad there. Number 7, Just Like Jesse James, I've always liked that actually. You know, Cher, I would never say I was ever a massive fan, obviously, you know, I've not got all her albums and my god, she must have released, what, about 30 odd studio albums now, maybe more if you include all the Sonny and Cher stuff. Number 8, I Found Someone, that's continuing the hair metal wuss rock kind of vibe here in this section of the album. I believe that one was written or co-written by Michael Bolton, and it might have been recorded by someone before Cher actually, and then Cher covered it and had a bigger hit with it. One by One is track number 9, good song that, like that a lot. Number 10 is Strong Enough, that was the follow-up single to Believe, would have been early 1999 I think when that came out, because Believe just spent so long at number 1 here in the UK and I think in a lot of other countries. It's very camp, it's basically a disco pastiche really, in fact, both lyrically and certainly melodically, it borrows very, very heavily from I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. It's almost a sort of rip-off of it, really. Not my cup of tea, really. I can see why it was a single. I can see that it would be popular with the gay community, for one, but not one for me personally. All or Nothing, I like that. Another great single. You know, she had a lot of decent singles, to be honest, Cher. It's easy to forget, even though her career has spanned multiple decades and she's had her peaks and troughs over many years, but she's had more peaks, certainly, and this album is evidence of that. Number 12, Walking in Memphis, another cover version. Who originally did that, and he was the writer of it as well, or a co-writer, Mark Cohen, I think. I actually like the dance versions of that have come out from the likes of Shut Up and Dance and Scooter. But Cher's version is decent enough. There's a nice gospel feel to it, really, certainly with the backing vocals. Number 13, Love Can Build a Bridge, which is her duet with Nana Cherry and Chrissie Hynde, and Eric Clapton, the wanker himself, provides a guitar solo on that. That was the Comic Relief Red Nose Day single for, I want to say, 1995. It's another cover. I think country band The Judds originally recorded Love Can Build a Bridge. I've never heard their version. This version, as a kind of heartfelt, emotional song, it's fine, but I think for Comic Relief and Red Nose Day it didn't fit. Here in the UK, when it came to Red Nose Day singles, we were used to like proper comedic things like Cliff Richard and the Young Ones, Bananarama's Help, Hale and Pace's The Stonk, and then in 95 we got like this really earnest ballad from Hynde, Cher and Cherry. I can see why it's been included on here, but it's a little bit maudlin for me, certainly when it's a charity single for a charity that is based on comedy performances. Then number 14, we go all the way back to the 1960s and Cher's cover of Bob Dylan's All I Really Want to Do. Great stuff. Her voice sounds markedly different on there actually than it would sound in future recordings. 15 is Bang Bang, and this was an interesting one because it wasn't the original Bang Bang. It was a remake of it that she did, and I think this was co-produced by John Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora, I believe, from the late 80s, I think. So a sort of hard, well, maybe soft, leaning into hard rock, almost covering her own work there, Bang Bang. And I did enjoy that version. I think I'd probably like it better than the original. Number 16 is Gypsies, Tramps and Thieves, another 1960s classic there. 17, The Beat Goes On, that I think was with Sonny. That one and the next one, I Got You Babe, both Sonny and Cher. Is it sacrilege to say I probably prefer the UB40 and Chrissie Hynde version of I Got You Babe? I don't mind this one. It's the original after all. And the album ends, track number 19. This feels like a kind of a bonus track that's been tagged on, although I do think it may have been a single, at least in some territories. Dove L'Amour, the Emilio Estefan Jr. mix. Of course, it's a kind of Spanglish type of dual language, Latin pop, dance pop song, very sort of Ricky Martin in its production and its sound. I don't think Ricky Martin had anything to do with it. Kind of an upbeat and fun way to end the album, but not one of my favourite tracks on here. So a lot to go through here, 19 tracks, and none of them are bad. You know, if you're looking for a Cher greatest hits, then the greatest hits is ideal, really. Yeah, it only covers her stuff up to 1998, 1999, but I think for most people, certainly myself, that would be enough. It's a good album, that. It's an easy listen. It certainly makes an hour and 10 minutes or so fly by. I like it a lot. Well done to Cher. And that was Minidisc Monday for today. Thank you very much for watching. Special thanks go to my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons. I'm going to go now, and please join me in a fortnight's time as we take a look at another album here on Minidisc Monday. Cheers everyone. See ya.